you to all members of the public, councillors and officers who are joining us for today's meeting. Please be aware that the council is video recording this meeting and this will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. I would just like to highlight some key points of the meeting format. Please can I ask everyone to have their phones turned off or set to silent. If councillors have any concerns about hearing or seeing others in the meeting, please let the chair or a council officer know straight away. The fire exits are clearly marked, with 2 in this room being the closest. The assembly point is the flat grass area by the patio. Please remain seated unless you are invited to speak or need to take a comfort break. The toilet facilities are out in the corridor. Members of the public are invited to participate in the meeting with the key points as follows. When the public participation agenda item is introduced, please raise your hand to show you wish to speak, and I will invite you to speak. If you are comfortable standing, please do so to ensure you can be heard across the room. Public participation is limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person. You do not need to state your name when you start speaking if you do not wish to. I would ask that participants looking to leave the meeting wait until the end of the agenda item to limit distractions for other participants. To all present, please remember to show respect to others in the meeting and avoid interrupting where possible to enable others to follow the meeting. If any councillor feels concerned about any aspect of the meeting or discussion, please clearly state point of order. I will then gesture for you to elaborate. If anyone present is felt to be misbehaving unacceptably, they can be ejected from the meeting by resolution. Thank you for listening. On behalf of the council, I would like to thank everyone for attending this town council meeting. Thank you. Agenda item number 1, apologies for absence.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to say that all 20 of our councillors are here. Well done, everyone. That's great we're all together. We do have apologies from Neil Wack, our young mayor. It's actually exam season at her school, so she's studying for exams.
Thank you. Number 2, disclosure of interests. To deal with
did you say 20 councillors here?
Yeah. I use my fingers and my toes, Jim.
Quite right, Charles. How's the wall waving now?
Sorry.
Steering yourself away, thank you, Jim.
Not sure what that was about.
Everyone's here. Definitely.
Everyone's here. Right, 2, disclosure of interests. To deal with any disclosure by members of any disclosable pecuniary interests and interests other than pecuniary interests as defined under Seaford Town Council Code of Conduct and the Localism Act 2011 in relation to matters on the agenda. No? Okay, thank you. Public participation. Still there any questions or brief representations from members of the public in accordance with the relevant legislation and Seaford Town Council policy?
Sorry, am I unable to stand?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Sorry, just get the right glasses on. I'd like to comment on items 11 and 14 of the agenda. I'm an owner of a beach hut on Bonningstead Promenade. I'm also a Seaford resident and therefore a council taxpayer. My observations are my own and not by the beach hut owners. I'm raising concerns over the delay in progressing the rebuilding of the sea defence wall on Bonningstead Promenade. To put this into perspective, the construction of the first sea defence wall was completed on the 21st of December 21. The wall was rendered useless by the first storm it faced, just 8 weeks after it had been completed. It was not fit for purpose. On the 21st of February 22, Tony Jackson from Seaford Town Council met with a structural engineer responsible for the project to try and ascertain why the wall had failed. Beach hut owners assumed the wall would be swiftly repaired. That was almost 2 years ago, and no further works have been carried out. A report was submitted to full council on the 10th of November 22. It was resolved at this meeting to approve expenditure of up to £60,000 on the rebuild of the wall. On the 1st of December 22, councillors agreed a wooden panel design for the rebuild of the sea defence wall, as they felt concrete was not a sustainable or a responsible option due to CO2 emissions. In January 23, Tony Jackson emailed beach hut owners to say the order for the new wall had been placed with contractors that week. and that the earliest start date would be Monday the 10th of April 23. No works were carried out. What's happened since then? Beach hut owners raised concerns about the sea defence wall at a meeting with Adam Chugg in May 23, but were told officers could not discuss the wall with them. This August, we were told there was a final drawing for the wall and that repairs could not go ahead until the shingle management was completed. It was reiterated in September that the wall would not be built until after Christmas, and that as there was a dispute regarding detailing to the top of the wall, a public consultation would be held. However, paragraph 1.1 of agenda item 14 now states it's not possible to rebuild the wall at this stage. Why is that? Can somebody please explain? And according to your 5-year strategic plan, changes to the wall will not happen until year 2. When is year 2? Will we still be awaiting commencement of works this time next year? Why is it necessary to go out to public consultation regarding some detailing to the top of the wall when so few people are affected or indeed interested in these changes? This will be costly and time consuming. Would it not be cheaper and more effective for councillors to make an informed decision? You are now being asked to agree funding for a temporary concrete barrier. There is no doubt a barrier is needed. There is a certain irony, however, in that councillors previously specified concrete should not be used to rebuild the wall, but now, due to a failure to proceed, you are being asked to put in place 30 blocks of concrete to protect the damaged wall. Finally, as a concerned council taxpayer, I must ask why the Town Council is spending money effectively constructing 3 walls in total. The original wall that failed, the temporary barrier, and hopefully a reconstructed sea defence wall. Had the repairs been carried out in a timely fashion, we would not be in this position. And I'd just like to apologise, I'll need to leave straight after public participation, so I listen to your answers on YouTube.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for such a clear, articulate and patient presentation, which we very much appreciate.
Thank you.
I think that it's well understood that there have been a number of circumstances that have caused this project to continue to take longer than may have been originally hoped for. I think that the council has been in regular contact with the beach hut owners. Meetings have taken place and basically done our best to keep everyone up to date. But as you pick up from the reports to council this evening, there are circumstances that have caused this process to be stretched out and frankly delayed. And that is the reason for the temporary structure being on the agenda this evening, because the council recognises its duty to do what it can. No objective observer would look positively upon a council having to do 3 lots of structural work on one site. We can't pretend that's as it should be. But unfortunately we are where we are, to coin a phrase, so that's why the temporary works are proposed this evening, and the more permanent works will proceed as soon as we are able to, but there are reasons why that is not proceeding right now, and we understand that's a source of huge frustration to our beach hut owners, which is why we've been meeting regularly and in regular correspondence with you, and also why the temporary structure is proposed on the agenda this evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Any further questions in? No? Okay, thank you very much. Right, number 4 is petitions. So in accordance with the Town Council petitions policy, this is a standard agenda item to facilitate any public petitions being presented to and notified for council. Please note that this will not prompt a discussion of the petition at this meeting. So are there any petitions to hand in? No? Okay, thank you. Right, number 5, minutes. To note the following minutes. Approving or not approving recommendations as required. Full council are from the 5th of October, and that will be uploaded to the Town Council website's meeting pages in the meeting.
The full council minutes in the parking. We had a very lengthy discussion and we made lots of suggestions, lots of councillors stood up and made suggestions, and yet none of those are in the minutes, nor the response to East Sussex Highways on the parking review. So I would like those putting on, please.
During the meeting, we summarised the points that had been made by councillors and summarised the points that were being captured in that point in the meeting, and also would then be part of the submission to East Sussex County Council. And those points are within the minutes of the meeting and also are part of the submission returned to East Sussex County Council. Minutes are the minute takers' best attempt to capture the key decisions and any, if you like, most relevant discussion points. But we're very clear that our minutes are not transcripts of meetings, but are largely the decisions. But also in this case, obviously, you have to capture further points because they were being then reported to East Sussex. And those are the reports that were summarised at the end of the discussion of the one meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further queries, questions? Thank you. Then can I have a proposer, please, for the minutes? Councillor Warraven, and a seconder, Councillor Borman, and then all in favour? Against? Abstentions?
Thank you, Chair. That's
Okay.
carried.
Thank you. Right, personnel on the 12th of October 2023. Councillor Honeyman, for?
Yeah.
Seconder, Councillor Daniji, and then all in favour? Thank you.
Chair, I need to interject. These minutes have not come back yet for approval.
Yeah.
So straight to 4.4.
Okay, we are then going straight to 4.4. Do we need to not say why we're not doing
Because, as I say, they're still being approved at the moment.
that? Okay,
So
just to
clarify
clarify
to
for
the
a thing. Okay, Climate Change Subcommittee is waiting to be approved, so we won't be doing that at this meeting at this moment. Then we are on to, sorry, is this a Sally's pointed out, that should be 5.4. Right.
She's right.
Yeah, Sally's just pointed out there should be 5.4, 5.2. Right, Planning and Highways, 19th of October. Can I have a proposer, please, and a seconder, Councillor Borman, and then all in favour? Thank you. Right, Mayor's update report. Any questions on the Mayor's update report? No, thank you. Right, the Young Mayor's reports. Over the past month, I have attended the weekly youth forum at the Macready Youth Centre, where we have done a paediatric first aid course alongside 12 others. I'm attending the RNLI Christmas fundraiser on the 26th of November and the Youth Citizen Award on the 17th of November. To start my fundraising for the RNLI and Seaford lifeguards, I have linked up with schools in Seaford with the help of my head teacher to arrange a non-school uniform day. Thank you.
Okay.
Right, can I have a proposer and a seconder? A proposer, I'll propose the report, as I wrote it, and seconder, Councillor Hura, and then all in favour. Thank you, that's a nice easy one. Right, agenda item number 7 is the Town Clerk's update report, which is to update full council on key town council work and work priorities for the town council.
Many thanks, Chair. I hope the key information is within the report. I'm happy to come back to you for any questions or feedback from the councillors now.
Okay, any questions? Oh, Councillor Bristow.
Yeah, I think it's a great new format. It's really easy to navigate and follow, so thank you very much for that. I think there's just one thing that I was going to mention. We've got the complaints listed, which is fab, and there's, a summary of what they are and an update. I do believe there are perhaps some other complaints on the go that we can't report on in terms of detail, but is it possible just to capture that they exist so that when we get the stats at the end of the year, it all tallies up, just in the case of, how you want to code it so that, what can't be given away isn't given away.
We'll have a really close look at that. Without being a policy pedant, the complaints policy is very clear about what complaints can be reported publicly and what ones can't. And obviously this is a public report, so therefore we're constrained by what the policy says and we're following the policy.
Okay.
But we'll have to look to see if there's anything else we can do.
Yeah, it may be in that case just a separate detailed report to councillors in that case, so that we get in detail that there are things that exist that can't be publicly reported.
We'll see
Yeah.
what the policy allows us to do. That's the best way. Thank you.
Councillor Ajanidi?
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, I've only asked, sorry, Christina, Crystal, I should ask you to stand up. Obviously, I'm not asking Councillor DeBus to stand up at the moment.
Thank you, Town Clerk, for a very comprehensive report. Just 3 minor things, please. And I know there's so much going on, and I've probably lost sight of it, but the communication strategy, have I lost it somewhere? I know that because you were going to come back. We're going to do a training course with Trevor Lego.
Yes, that's right. So the Trevor Lego workshop is next week on the 21st of November, and then we'll bring a report to a subsequent full council.
Because I didn't see it on your list.
No, that's fine.
And that's the first thing. Last personnel, again, I'm not trying to preempt, and really we're looking at some form of staffing review. I'm not quite sure what the actual wording is.
Yes, that's
right. I can't see anything in your...
That's because I deliberately haven't put it here because obviously we will come to council when the review has been completed, and we're not exactly sure when the completion will be. It depends a little bit how long that review takes, when it will come to full council. I don't want to give a false expectation of an imminent full council report on that matter when it may be slightly further back once the review has been completed.
And I know I've raised this before. You said you have a 6 month, I think 6 month workload. But just checking, you've got plans for the D-Day 80th anniversary next June.
Yes, okay. Yeah, and that's within the strategic plan document.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Rutland, do you want to remain seated?
Yes, thank you. In here, July 23, walk the chalk, I know there was a query over finances. They didn't want to pay the money we asked them for, and we saw ahead of things, and we were going to sort it out. Did we sort it out? How much did we sort out? Or?
Discussions are still continuing, Councillor. We will report that when there's more news.
I look forward to hearing about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Oh, yeah, I thought you were going to put your hands up. I looked that way and I thought you were about to.
I just want to say thank you to the town clerk. It's interesting coming to full council here and comparing it to full council at Lewis District, which tend to be quite quick meetings. There's a huge amount going on in this council, and we are very understaffed. And I think the town clerk and the officers and the new head of assets and everything, they're doing an amazing job. So I just wanted to thank you under difficult circumstances, because, as has been said, we have had a lot of complaints which have taken a huge amount of time as well. So I'm very aware, I'm sure council is aware, that this is under duress. A lot of this work's going forward. It's really difficult to do it when they have been understaffed, and so I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
Here.
Councillor Honeyman.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and Town Clerk and Deputy Mayor and Andy Cleves as well, and everyone, and also the other stuff. Just comment on the petitions. The first time it's been there, isn't it? I thought of it maybe in recent years. Long-standing councillors like Councillor Warburton might be able to correct us. But do you think out of courtesy you want a bit of notice if there was one to be presented here, as opposed to it being presented on the night? I don't know if there's anything on the policy for that, or procedure. It's more a procedure item.
Well, sure, we can check the policy on that, Councillor.
But also, how would you be checking the validity of it as well, or of the prior to being presented here, if it was presented on the night?
Yeah, we follow the policy.
Okay, so you would know, you would check all the things beforehand?
Yeah, we follow the policy. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Right, any further questions? Right, we are asked to note the contents of the report then. Please, proposer, Councillor Hurrell, seconder, Councillor Rutland, all in favour? Thank you. Right. Hang on, we'll go back now. Right, agenda item number 8, a standard agenda for the Town Council Working Group reports. A standard agenda item to accommodate reports from active Town Council working groups And at the moment, I have here notes, there are no working group reports for this meeting.
That's correct. I mean, there are a couple of very active groups happening at the moment, and there will be reports coming to future council meetings when we reach the appropriate stage. And I want to thank councillors for all those who are involved with those groups and the work that they're doing. There's lots of good work taking place, and once we get to the right point, there will be reports under this item.
Councillor Buchanan?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say that there is a new Seaford Barn working group.
Yes.
I think, as we all know, there's been much discussion over the years regarding the long-term potential for Seaford Barn. This working group has been set up based on Town Council's offices to undertake a feasibility study to review various ways forward for the barn. Feedback from a recent public consultation of the barn and its future use garnered some interesting initial ideas, amongst others, Ecology and Education Centre, Green Cafe, Meeting and Events Venue, Art Centre, Wellbeing Centre. The first of 6 working group meetings was held around 4 weeks ago, with the overall study planned to be completed in the 3rd quarter of next year. The working group will keep the council posted.
Thank you very much. Right, agenda item number 9, outside body representative reports. A standard agenda item to enable town councils appointed as representatives of outside bodies of the town council to give brief verbal updates on relevant business or activities of the outside body for noting only. I'm in consultation with the town clerk, I'm suggesting that we keep outdoor body reports to a maximum of 2 minutes. So did anyone want to do an outdoor body report? Councillor Herrera?
Yep, the Strengthening Local Relationships outside body met this week, which was actually put together by officers from Town Council and officers from the County Council. It was a really helpful meeting, and Councillor Allraven was there, along with myself, and Councillor Lambert was there from East Sussex County Council. Councillor Allraven very eloquently raised the concerns over the safety of Bishopstoke Junction. We've had a useful discussion on seafront parking, and also quite a lengthy discussion on the general condition of roads and pavements in Seaford, and Town Councillors' desire for those to be much better. It does sort of highlight the complexity of local government. Sometimes it's difficult to get all the different groups working together, but that certainly was an outside body that seemed to help with that and bring concerns on the ground that the Town Council notices to the county.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Councillor Bristow?
Thank you. I'm reporting on the first meeting of the prospective Chalk Coast National Nature Reserve, which I've attended as outside body rep, and I know officers have been to previous ones, and Louise Lawrence attended as well. It was on the 27th of October. If councillors and everyone in the room remembers, this is the proposal to bring together a network of local nature reserves as well as our national nature reserve at Luddington Heath, between Seaford and Eastbourne and up the Cuckmere Valley, primarily focusing on the health and quality of our water supply, which is linked to the chalk aquifer underneath, and the ecosystem services, which benefits which that would bring. So there are some baselining studies either about to commence or commencing, but on soil, species and priority habitats. During the meeting we identified quite a large amount of stakeholders and sort of tried to group them and figured out best communication methods. Considered our existing management plans, including the one we've got for Seaford Head, which would need to go into an overall framework if we were to proceed. Our next steps are to attend a visioning workshop in January with the other partners, and a visit to Purbeck Heath in April. And in conjunction with Louise, we're looking at bringing an item for consideration of whether we want to go ahead with this in principle forward to a full council meeting at some point in the spring, rather than wait all the way till next October. So that's kind of the real nugget in this, because we need to go through a process to achieve approved body status, and that's something obviously we don't want to go through all that if we're not in principle agreement with it. So I just wanted to update councillors that something will be coming in the spring for us to consider.
Thank you. Just on 2 minutes. Good time. Thanks. Thank you. Anyone else like to do an outdoor body report? Councillor Meek.
Just to notify, I think it was sent round to everybody. Seaford Head Local Nature Reserve Management Committee did do a report. Louise gave an update on that search. You should have had an email about that. But just to say that we're having a very good relationship developing with the farmer, which is a great thing. And just also for Trees for Seaford are doing great work, doing some maintenance at the moment, and they've got a lot of planting on this winter, which should be done by the end of February, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, thank you very much. Right, we are on to agenda item number 10, which is District and Councillors Update Report. To give an opportunity for an update from councillors at a district or county level on business activities that affect Seaford and the local area. Councillor Meek.
Thank you. I didn't know that this is an outside body because I'm actually an outside body representative for Lewis District Council for Impact Seaford. Now we just had notification that they are trying to convene the instigation of this body happening again, but it seems to be in the gift of Lewis District Council officer. So we're hoping to either meet before Christmas or early in the new year. One of the questions posed was, what is basically the point of Impact Seaford? What should its remit be? What is its function supposed to be? And if any councillors want to approach me, or I believe Councillor Monaco and Councillor Bristow, who are the two Seaford representatives, to kind of enunciate what your ideas for that might be, as opposed to what other bodies are doing in the town. It is supposed to be a convener between Lewis District Council and Seaford Town Council, and obviously for Seaford to be able to make its impact locally and in conjunction with the other councils. But do feed into us to have your views known as to how you think that body ought to best work for Seaford. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Councillor Bristow.
Thank you. Just a brief update from Seaford West. Anyone who walks there may have noticed that there are two have been removed from next to the level crossing there, a general bin and a dog bin, and there was litter and rubbish accumulating. Thanks to the council for clearing that, and also for putting some signs up asking people to take rubbish to the main car park. We've also been liaising with Lewis about putting a bin at the beach end, because the only dog bin that's there seems to overflow and there's a lot of other litter around. So they're going to be trialling a seagull proof bin in due course. I don't quite know when it's going to be installed, so more details when that comes. Probably, hopefully good news, but not if you're a seagull. Yeah, I've also been liaising with the Friends of Tide Hills to get their records picked up and so on. So if anyone's got any queries or concerns about that, do get in touch.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Right, we are on to agenda item number 11, which is to review and agree the strategic plan 2023-2027. So the title is adoption of the 2023 to 2027 strategic plan.
Thank you, Chair. As councillors have been advised, how this item is going to work is we're going to see if anyone wants to make any further amendments to this document, and then we'll take the amendments, Chair, and then those amendments that are voted through will be adopted, and then we'll take a vote to adopt the plan once that process has been completed. So I'm going to go through the sections of I'm literally going to go section by section and ask if there are any amendments for that section, and then we'll consider if any councillors have any amendments to raise. All make sense so far? Anyone with that? Councillor Bristow?
So I just have one kind of overarching query, and that is there kind of a review programme of this through the next few years? Do we sort of come back to it every year, or how will that process work?
I mean, we've been quite specific in to take the sections in their turn. Section 5 is a community services responsibilities made clear in the report. Section 6 makes clear how those 4 areas are being managed and reviewed during the period. Section 7 is something that's reviewed annually by council. Section 8 is something that's reviewed annually by council. And that only leaves Section 4, which will be a matter for full council to monitor, so there'll be regular reports to full council updating on the progress on the items under Section 4. So I can clarify that. So, and also just to say, what a councillor has sent me 3 or 4 proposed amendments to the plan, and we'll cover. Also, I'll cover those when I get to those sections of the plan, if that makes sense. All right. So I'm going to start with. I'll take sections 1, 2, and 3 together. Does anyone have any amendments for sections 1, 2, or 3? Councillor Honeyman.
Just a very quick one. I would suggest that Seaford in the south east as opposed to southern England. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Honeyman. I take that point is entirely taken, and we'll have a look. Maybe, yeah. I'd be happy to describe it as south east in the final published version. No problem with that at all. Thank you. All right, Councillor Taylor.
I understand.
Yes. It's only because something like Councillor Tabas is a bit...
Yeah, it's okay, I'm getting used to what's happening. I don't know if this is in the right section, so I'm on page 21. I'm just intrigued, as I read this, a very interesting plan. It's always really hard to write these with a level of generalisation as well as specificity, but it's really possible. So what the comment that struck me was, on page 21, councillors do not directly manage services, but they do make the decisions on what those services will be like. And I thought that I was a bit surprised by that. I thought maybe we have input into decisions, but would we be making decisions about what they're like on our own? So that was my question.
That's a big question, Councillor. That's the role of councillors, the role of officers, and I think that I completely respect your question. I think that this way of describing it is, comes from sort of trusted sources, if you like, in terms of trying to determine how best we describe it. I think it can be quite hard to describe it sometimes, but in a nutshell, how a town council or parish council operates is that decisions are made by councillors. An officer's job is to advise councillors on decisions and to implement them. So this is one way of describing that. Is how this is put in this document. I think for a public reading this, they may not. It helps them to recognise the really important role of the councillors really as the decision makers, and that's what the sentence is trying to do. Okay, anything else on sections 1, 2 or 3? Councillor Walraven.
Sorry, just a small point. On page 4, page 20.
Yes.
On the list, I just wondered if you could include the crypt, as it is important this one. I know you've got many others at the bottom. But it's of historic value.
The only issue with the crypt is at the moment we're clarifying with Lewis District Council the ownership arrangements for the crypt, and that's why it's not been put on this list, because this is listing things that are owned by the council. So we haven't put it there.
Lewis passed it over. Sorry.
Well,
Lewis did pass it over.
Well, they believe that they did, without going off down a rabbit hole tonight, but they believe that they did, but we've gone and checked the documentation and it doesn't necessarily say that, so that's why we're trying to sort it out with Lewis District at the moment.
Any further questions?
Okay, so thank you, Chair. So that's sections 1, 2 and 3. Now we'll go on to section 4. And so section 4, actually I'll take it generally, and then once I've heard any amendments from the floor, I'll also explain some amendments that have been sent to me in advance of the meeting. So section 4, does anyone have any amendments?
Section 1, 2 and 3, and we want to propose and agree them now.
We're going to propose to agree the whole plan at the end.
Okay.
So we'll take amendments as we go, and then we'll agree the whole plan at the end. So we're happy to clarify that. So any amendments in section 4? Okay, so I've had sent it. I'm very grateful to a councillor who took the trouble to send things in advance. That was really, really helpful. But in section 4, they've asked that 1.5, which is on page 30 of the main document, 2.1, which is on page 31, and 2.2, which is on page 32, be deleted because these are not within the remit of a town council. Okay. Does anyone want to say anything on that particular proposal?
Can you repeat it again?
Sorry?
Can you say that again, please?
Yeah, so set 1.5, 2.1 and 2.2 be deleted because they're not within the remit of the town council to do. Councillor Bournemouth.
Thank you, Chair. This council has the power of competence. With having the power of competence, we could actually build affordable housing as a council. We could provide visitor accommodation, and in the last strategic plan, we had log cabins down to build as visitor accommodation for the town. So it's totally in the remit of Seaford Town Council to have these, and I'm voting to keep them.
Councillor Bristow.
Thanks. In addition to what Councillor Borman has said, I would say, especially for example looking at 2.2, working with stakeholders, I think that's really important across the three topics that have been identified, that whether we've got primary responsibility or not, or whether it's something we can do, it is something we can do, but whether we're doing it or whether someone else is doing it, I think it's really important to be involved where we can be as a key stakeholder. So whether that's perhaps actually adding similar point as in 2.2 work with stakeholders, in addition to what we've got there, I would like to propose to keep them in and just recognise that point.
Thank you. Any other comments on that? Councillor Hunnigan.
Just repeat, so can you pick numbers again?
Yeah, no problem, sorry, yes.
1.5.
The sections are one within, sorry, the parts within section 4 are at 1.5, in other words, the fifth priority for aim 1, 2.1, the first priority for aim 2, and 2.2, the second priority for aim 2. Councillor, you want to come back, Councillor?
Yeah, thank you. On 2.1 regarding the long-term community centre, surely that's still a name one way or other. I can't see why that has to be taken out. That's been a name for the council for a long time, so I would propose to keep that in, if that's okay. Thank you.
Sorry, I was just going to add a very quick other thought. We had Councillor Meek earlier speak about Impact Seaford and how that might add value to the town going forward. It's just possible that these three, I think, could dovetail in with that.
That's noted. Any other comments on this? So I'm taking it there isn't a seconder for those amendments. Okay, that's fine. All right. So are there any other amendments on section 4, and then we'll move on again? Councillor Hunnigan.
Sorry, so at the moment they're still staying in, but there's no
Yes.
second.
Yes, to be clear, this is your document, so that's why we're doing it like this. Any amendments will be agreed by full council in this meeting, so feel free to, propose, second and vote something through, then it'll be in the plan. It is your document, that's how we're taking it through this evening. All right, I think we're ready to move on to section 5, Chair. Section 5. So again, does anyone have any amendments for section 5? Councillor Sturton.
Madam Mayor and Town Clerk, I would like to propose an amendment to section 5.3.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's the spirit of it, at least the wording. The wording here is to ensure a balanced budget that minimises the precept of funding necessary projects and services.
Sorry, what page are you on?
I'm on page 21, section 5.3.
Page 38.
Oh no, sorry, you're still in section 4, but you're in aim 5, Councillor Sturton. I'm so sorry.
So am I messed up?
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. Page 28. Page 21 of the report, page 38 of your documents, councillors. This is aim 5.3. Go for it, Councillor Sturton. I'm so sorry. Please.
My concern with the wording is that it bakes austerity into our strategic plan. I don't want this to seem like an argument against sound public financial administration. It's not that. But I could see a case, and I've seen instances in the past, in the short time when I've been a councillor, when we have approved funding that represents good value to local residents while falling short of the standard of necessity. And I would want us to be able to continue to do that, to fund projects that represent good value for money to the people of Seaford, even if they are not absolutely necessary, and even if they involved, considering that we might have to set the precept accordingly. And we might not want to, but I would want to be able to take these decisions as and when they arise, and not to have, continue these disastrous policies of austerity that have been practiced in local government for 10 years at all levels, baked into a strategic plan. So I would like to propose an amendment that uses the words sort of and they'll certainly have no problem with a balanced budget, but I would want to pursue policies with an eye on sound public financial administration and with a view to the value for money to the people of Seaford.
Okay, we've got that. Does anyone want to second that amendment? Councillor Sturton. All right. Anybody else want to say anything about, to comment on this amendment, one way or the other, and then we'll take a vote on?
Could you just read it out again? What it is?
Councillors, would you like to read out your amendment again, Councillor?
Well, I mean, I'm afraid it was rather amazing. But to keep the wording of a balanced budget, and to add, instead of minimising precepts and funding necessary projects, to use wordings that express thoughts like pursued sound public financial administration, sought value for money to the people of Seaford, mindful of the impact on ratepayers or something like that.
Okay, so with an eye on sound public finances and seeking value for money for the people of Seaford. Okay, we've got that. Thank you. Happy to clarify that. Okay, anybody else want to comment on this before we take a vote on this? Councillor Denise.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I do have concerns with that, because I think what we've got in front of us is quite clear. We want to minimise the precept. This is public funds, it's public money. We have a duty to the public. It's not saying, this is not ideological, but we have a duty to the public to make sure that we do minimise the precept on them. That doesn't mean that the precept can rise, it just means that we have a duty to make sure that any rise is kept to the minimum. So I am inclined to keep it as it is, because it means that in anything we do, in every decision we do, we say, this is not our money, this is public money, let's look at the best way to spend that money. So I would encourage you to please keep it as it is.
Thank you, Councillor Sneegee. And Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Chair. I would, in response to that, Councillor Sneegee, I would suggest that value for money, part of what Councillor Sturton said, would actually encapsulate that.
Councillor Javan.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Adeji that it does need to stay in, or at least say something that Councillor Sturton said, where it said mindful of ratepayers' commitments.
Thank you.
Councillor Taylor.
I welcome that comment that Councillor Sturton has made. Sorry. Could you elaborate a bit more on the value for money? Because I think it's all wrapped up in that phrase, which we probably have different views on, or different definitions of.
I'm allowed to speak again. Well, thank you. I mean, as I understand it, I mean, the concept of value for money encapsulates concepts of economy, efficiency and effectiveness, and a concern of not spending ratepayers' money without mindful that we are delivering value in return for that. But it's a loosening of a wording that, with all due respect to Councillor Adamici, the plain meaning of the word is minimises precept. And there may, on substance, in particular occasions where being exactly the situations where we want to minimise the precept, but there may be situations when we are willing to accept a higher level of spending in return for a higher level of service, and I want the wording to encapsulate the possibility of that.
Thank you.
Councillor Rutland.
I've listened to what everyone said, and you're both saying exactly the same things, but just with different vocabulary. Because while the first line says minimise precept, further down in the same paragraph, it's while funding necessary projects and services. So actually, all you're arguing about is vocabulary, and you're both saying exactly the same thing. Sorry, there's no difference. It's just vocabulary, but it's in there. Necessary projects and services, while funding necessary projects and services, and minimising precept. If that's not the very definition of value for money, while doing everything that's necessary for our town, which we're both saying is what we want, it's just vocabulary. And I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with what's there, but it's just vocabulary, as far as I'm concerned.
Councillor Rooster.
I think in response to Councillor Rutland, vocabulary is about more than just the specific words. It sets a tone, it sets a spirit of a document. And minimising precept, funding necessary projects. There are things that are necessary that need to be funded as cheaply as possible. There are also things that are important to the value of the town, which may not be strictly necessary and may involve additional spending. And by sticking with this particular language that is in this document, we are baking in, to use Councillor Sturton's language, we're baking in austerity. And actually, we want this to be a hopeful, positive, forward-looking document that allows us to do good things and big things for Seaford. So let's be aspirational. Let's say value for money, not austerity.
Okay, Councillor Clay.
Yeah, how about if we just struck through the words minimise precept? Would that satisfy everybody? Because you've still got the vocabulary, and it would just make it a lot simpler.
Councillor Honeyman.
Yeah, following on what Councillor Clay said, I prefer the phrase appropriate precept level or something, sort of words of that across all the years, because appropriate could be various depending on what year you're in. We don't know what can happen in the next 5 years, 4 years even. So to say minimise every time, I can understand what Councillor Sturton and Ruth Sturton's where they're coming from. So I prefer to take the word minimise out, replace it with something else. Thank you.
Councillor Bristol.
Yeah, I was going to actually add something onto the end here. Why do you want value for money? What are we ultimately doing it for? That's not, as I see it, the end goal. The end goal is to try and provide the best quality of life over the things we can influence for our residents. So whatever wording we end up with about precept, whether it's appropriate and funding, whether we deem projects and services to be necessary, but ultimately I think we're trying to improve the quality of life for our residents. So maybe if we just stick that end goal in, it's kind of a positive, forward-looking thing of bringing together whichever words we use before it.
Thank you. Any further questions? Comments? No, thank you. Do you want to summarise this up?
Yes, I think that I'd be tempted, Chair, to actually proceed with a vote on the amendment. And I think we've heard all the other points, but I think a vote on the amendment will show us whether we're there yet or not. So I suggest you do that, Chair.
Okay, so we've had a proposer, we've had a seconder. So then, all in favour for Councillor Lindsay Sturton's amendment?
Okay, that's 14, Chair.
And against?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
and
6.
Any abstentions?
I don't know.
just thought I'd go through the whole thing. Yes, I'm just excited. That would be rude, wouldn't it?
All right, so that amendment is passed, Chair. Thank you. Okay, so we're moving on now to section 5 of the document, starting on page 42 of your pack. Do we have any amendments for section 5 of the document at all? Councillor Duval.
I sent some amendments through, which you answered those, so for the record, I want to request that, find it. Yeah, item 10, take appropriate action in relation to campaigns. I wanted that removed.
Okay. So do you want to say
Sorry,
what
yes,
that was?
sorry, because the action here is to explore sites for new provision, and I don't believe it's our remit to provide tourism sites for motorhomes and campervans where we've got an existing commercial provision in town. And we want to, I mean, it was previously mentioned that we were going to, it was suggested that the car park would be used, but we need that for car parking. So that's why I think it should be taken out. And it also wasn't discussed at the strategic plan meeting, as far as I understand. Oh, did you? Yes, okay.
So would you like to delete number 10 completely, or do you want to amend it?
I just wanted to delete it.
Delete it completely. Okay, thank you. Anybody else want to comment on deleting item 10 on the appeals? Councillor
Can I suggest that we take out year 2, but
Yeah.
maintain section 10?
Yes.
It may not have been discussed in the strategic plan, but it's certainly been discussed at council meetings, and I and various colleagues and officers are working very hard to take forward the very strongly voiced public opinion about this. So I think, I mean, we are submitting evidence to statutory parties and we are working in ways, so I think it is something that has to reflect our activity. It's just that we are not looking at alternative sites because we don't feel that, so it's means and an end really. And therefore, so year 2 and year 3 should be taken out.
Yes.
But certainly year 1 is going ahead.
Okay. All right, thank you. So that's 2. So either delete completely or delete year 2 or year 3. Anybody else want to speak?
Councillor Rutland, wasn't it?
At the previous council meeting, there was an enormous public attendance about the strength of feeling in the town about the campervans and motorhomes. So I think very, very strongly it is a subject that is at the heart of the majority of our residents and absolutely should be in our strategic plan unreservedly. So under no way should it be deleted.
I think Councillor Ball was next.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just wondering, the Buckle Caravan site, actually some weekends and summer holiday times, is actually full. So the camper vans will then still be along the seafront when it's full. This actually provides us the possibility of looking for an area along the seafront that's out the way of the housing, so it's not near the houses and everything, that we could possibly put maybe 4 or 5 camper vans on and not having the rest of the site. Actually, we could look at having an area small enough but big enough for camper vans especially. That would then resolve a lot of problems. It's not saying we are going to do it, but let's have a look and see whether we could do it. It would solve a lot of problems along the seafront because the Buckle Caravan site sometimes is full.
Thank you. Councillor Bristow was next. Sorry. Councillor Bristow's
just quickly, yeah, I support Councillor Wearmouth's proposal to scrub year 2 and year 3 really. Whether the site thing comes up again out of our consideration in year 1 remains to be seen. But something which came to light for me and which I was a bit late to add into the East Sussex Highways consultation was that, as many others may be aware, there are various different reasons for people sleeping in vehicles, motorhomes and camper vans. Yes, a lot of it is, how would you describe, tourism perhaps, but there are, I believe, some people who are sleeping in and out of necessity, and I just wanted to propose that we put something into the year one to say that we recognise the differing reasons and we'll work with partners in the most appropriate way, so that we recognise that there's a...
Councillor Lord?
Yes, thank you, Chairwoman. I live near the seafront, and this morning there was 8 or 9 camper vans parked in the seafront. They're using our public conveniences as they think fit, using our fresh water as they think fit, and to make matters worse, there's one park very close to my house and emptying the teapot, kettle and goodness what else in the public highway. So, we've got a situation where they give more planning applications to the Buckle car parks, so the Buckle caravan sites can take more caravans in, or we don't. Local Facebook sites, come down to Seaford, you park for free and your facilities are free. So we're subsidising people to stop in Seaford, which I don't mind that, but we're paying for it. So therefore we must be in a position where we say, well, yeah, if you come to Seaford, then it's okay, Councillor Women, if you're okay. Are you okay? Well, I'm talking. Thank you. I think what we should be able to say, well, if we are going to allow people to stay here, perhaps we should offer licences and say, well, we're stopping Seaford, we haven't got a problem with that. Well, you pay for the privilege of stopping. They've got the best sea views on the south coast of England. So therefore, why don't they be licensed and pay for it? If they don't pay for it, a minimum amount, stop for free. Stop for free, we pay for it, and that ends the conversation. But don't people coming to me, all my neighbours, say what Seaford Town Council are going to do about 20, 30 caravans, most ones, parked inside their house. It's as simple as that. Whether it's one way, leave it alone, or we license it. Thank you.
Councillor Rutland.
Just in answer to your question about motorhome app that was telling people there was free parking,
yeah.
I've been in touch with the app organisers and they have amended their records to show that it's not free down here in Seaford and that there's not a free for all, so they've amended their records so it will actually prevent people being encouraged to come down. So that's already been taken care of with that app, which did cause us a lot of problems. So, but that's been sorted out now, so that's just an aside. I just thought I'd answer your question on that.
Thank you. Any, Councillor Taylor?
Yeah, I too spend a lot of time on the seafront and have canvassed extensively along that area at the Buckle end. That's my Bishopstone ward. I would suggest that this issue is a very heated issue and that we're not going to solve it tonight. And that we keep in, we certainly must keep in that take appropriate action in relation to camper vans, etc. And I don't actually think Councillor Duval was suggesting we drop it out completely. And that we keep in at year one. The problem is explore possible sites for new provision, because I don't feel optimistic in the way that Councillor Bournemouth does that there are a lot of other spaces along the seafront where proper provision can be provided, but maybe I've missed something. But it's pretty jammed up. So we probably will need to carry out further consultation. We should leave that in. Let's not write out public consultation on this, because it's so heated. That would be my, I'm sorry, that's my opinion.
We've got 2 minutes now.
Oh, okay.
If I just make a correction, I agree, we leave it in but delete year 2 and 3.
All right, so Chair, I think the amendment we have proposed is to delete sections year 2 and year 3 of the report, of those bits, yeah? That's the bit that's been seconded, if you like.
Okay.
So I think we're taking a vote on that, because that's the proposal.
Okay, so we've got a proposal and we have a second, Councillor Mead? No? Okay. Right, all in, Councillor Bristow, are you asking a question?
No.
Okay, sorry.
Can I ask who proposed and seconded it?
Sorry, that was during the discussion. So, was Councillor Weymouth, did you propose it originally? That's good, okay, that's definitely. I've just heard, and I've heard more than one councillor agree with it during the proposal. Not everybody has, that's why we're going to take a vote on it. I can ask for a formal seconder if you'd like, Councillor Bristow has seconded it, so that'll be that.
Okay, right. So, Councillor Honeyman?
Thank you. On the second part of year one, what's it really mean? Because that's on the old page, I wasn't really quite clear what that really meant anyway.
Implement changes on any land owned by the Town Council?
Yeah. In this context?
In this context, it means that in relation to camper vans and motorhomes, to determine if any changes are possible on land that we actually own ourselves, because there's a small, as was covered at the full council meeting, there's a small section of the seafront that we own.
Oh, actually, you're coming back. Okay, I understand what actually
why I said land owned by the
Right, thank you. I'm now going to go to the votes. Can I have all in favour?
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
No.
Yeah, that's 14, Chair, thank you.
Okay, against? Oh, hang on.
6.
No.
Yeah, that's 6, that's 14, 6 against. Thank you. So we'll make those amendments to report. Thank you. Okay, anything else in section 5? You've got hands, Chair.
I've gone back. Sorry, sometimes Adam's doing it, sometimes. Right, Councillor Anthony. Oh.
Okay, just a small addition for Project 7. I'd like to insert some words around working with neighbouring town councils and Lewis District Council to explore options on grounds maintenance as part of the review.
So do you want that to be in the main description or an action during one of the years, Councillor?
It could potentially be an action in year 1 leading into the review in year 2 or added into year 2.
So why don't we make it an action in year 1?
Yeah.
So if you just say it again.
Consulting with neighbouring town councils and Lewis District Council.
Town councils and Lewis District Council. Okay, so that's an amendment. Would anyone like to second that amendment? Councillor Zanigi, you're seconding? Yes. Anyone else want to comment further on that? Okay, Chair, I think we can take a vote on that.
Okay, right, so we have a proposer and a second then, all in favour?
Okay. That's everywhere.
Right, Councillor Adeniji.
Thank you, Chair. It's probably more of a question. Quite a few things, like agenda number 6, talking about signage, and number 10, talking about the camper van. And it leads me to the question, there is nothing about moving forward, isn't an app. This is all old-fashioned based. Please have in town council got an app, for example. Why aren't we looking at using digital technologies to actually get a message across?
That's a fair point, Councillor Adeniji. No one would disagree with that. I suppose this is just the way that it's been described in the plans of the council.
Yes, so do we have any plan to digitise our messaging?
Yeah, this is without going on too much, Chair. There are plans to bring discussion of that to a future full council.
Okay.
Thank you. Right, Councillor Rutland.
Well, just as Sarah said there for point 6, implement additional seafront signage on the seafront, help bring visitors to the town shops and facilities. Both physical signage and digital would then cover both options, and as we become more tech savvy or start employing more 12-year-olds who are more tech savvy than we are, being dinosaurs, dinosaurs. But if you add in physical and digital, then that covers both in the strategic plan, and that accommodates what Sam was saying about an app or.
So so amend number 6 as you just described.
Just that there's both physical and digital, and I think that covers it Adequately.
That's a proposal. You have to second that.
I can move that. It's not just about signage, but I will buy that.
Yeah. Okay.
There's places for both.
Okay, so we have a proposer and a seconder.
Yeah.
All in favour?
That's everyone again, Chair. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
So we'll make that one in as well. So amended 6, amended 7. Okay.
Right, Councillor Ruth Sturgeon.
Can I just ask about number 11? The existence of this on the strategic plan projects that we want to do. Martello is unique to us. It's a very Seaford thing. Why are we proposing to change the name?
The previous administration passed the vote to do this. So that's why it's on the books of things to be done. And as you remember, section 5 is very clearly described. This is really quite aimed at our residents, really to explain to them what we'll be doing over the 4-year period, while the more strategic part of the plan is section 4, the more strategic aims for the council itself. If you're proposing, you are free to propose we take it off the list, and if people second the vote for that, we'll delete it as not a priority. But the work will remain unless there's a council vote to get rid of it, if that makes sense, in terms of process.
Councillor Lindsay Stone.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would wish to make such a proposal that we would leave this off. Fellow councillors, Madam Mayor, in doing so I mean absolutely no disrespect to the late Her Majesty, who served her realm with great distinction. But I do feel that while it's quite appropriate that many things up and down the realm are named after Her Majesty, that the Martello Fields are our Martello Fields. Our Martello Tower is a symbol of Seaford. It's part of what makes us a little bit different from other towns along the coast. I know there are some other Martello Towers, but not many of them. And we are famous for our Martello Tower, and we'd like to keep this. Madam Mayor, for the sake of the late Her Majesty, you might not believe this, but there are some people here who have in the past proposed that Martello Fields be turned into a car park. And I think it would be a great disrespect to Her Majesty should a future council make this decision that, you know, Her Majesty has a car park named in her honour. I think that would be a great disrespect, given the distinction with which she served her realm. And for that reason, I would like to have these matters left off the strategic plan.
Thank you. Councillor Vaughan.
Thank you, Chair. One thing I don't think Councillor Sturton understand, it wasn't just about Queen Elizabeth II. Queen Elizabeth I gifted these fields to Seaford. This is part of the reason why isn't Queen Elizabeth II, because both queens are involved in these fields. Also, the Martello Fields are only named the Martello Fields recently. They're actually, I can't remember whether Councillor Walraven will remember what they used to be called.
No, I can't.
You can't either.
I think it was just East and West Fields.
But it's just something that local residents have picked up on, not actually that they officially named that. So I would actually like it kept in because it's a commemoration of who gifted the land to the town.
Councillor Nichols next.
I think I would like it to not say, I would like to say rename the Martello Fields, possibly, without reference to Queen Elizabeth, because they used to, as our previous councillor reminded us, Jean said that they used to be called the Sea Meadows. And it would be nice to have them called Sea Meadows, particularly as we're trying to rewild parts of them. So that would be very appetite for us, as opposed to just call them fields, which suggests perhaps either agricultural fields or playing fields. But if they were meadows, sea meadows, it might invoke some of that wilding we're trying to do. Thank you.
Well, this is fascinating and very close to me, same as when I was a few months old baby. I lived on Corsica Close and was often about sort of yay high running around the sea meadows or the Martello Fields. I've only ever known them as the Martello Fields, but that might give you a clue about how old I am. I wonder whether it is the renaming which is possibly the thing. I think locals, and many people who I've spoken to, I'm often on those fields, whatever you would like to call them. We call them the Martello Fields, the Martello Tower it's a landscape feature here. Yes, there are many others, and I remember going to the Martello Tower up in Hoy in Orkney, so quite a long way away. I wonder if we should perhaps just encapsulate that perhaps it's not a renaming, but a consideration of the explanation of the history. So we've got the two Queen Elizabeths who are both linked to those fields. We've got the Sea Meadows, which is also part of that area's history. And I think it would be fascinating for people who visit the area to be able to know about all these things, actually, not just one or the other, and perhaps we don't need to argue over which one is the superior name. So I'd like to propose that we consider this a bit more as a new administration, and that perhaps we bring that bit of history to those fields in the most appropriate way, so that locals and visitors can enjoy whichever lens they would wish to look at them through.
Councillor Halligan.
Thank you very much, Madam. I'm convinced this was actually decided at full council about a year ago, with all the names and everything, so I don't know why we're even discussing this in a way. I want to know why it hasn't been implemented earlier. To be honest, we've already got names in the fields, and I thought the work was already done and implemented, so where's the hold up, and why is it going to take another year? So it'll take about 3 years to get this implemented. So I'd like to know what the delay's all about, please.
There isn't a delay, it's just within a programme of work.
So just correct me if I'm wrong, but the name's already been decided, hasn't it? We decided the names.
The full council has passed the motion to rename the fields in this way.
Yeah,
that motion was some time ago.
Yeah.
So enough time has passed where if this council passed a different motion, it could do something else if it wanted to. But if it doesn't, the original motion would still stand. I guess that's what the discussion is about right now, isn't it?
So can we go back for the old minutes and go through what was actually decided about a year ago, please, while we're here? Because this is not really, we're having big debate yet again, but it was decided a year ago when the Queen did pass. So I don't see why we're keeping on dragging back old ground, then we can move on what we really have to do.
Okay. All right, Councillor Honeyman, we will look into this. The officers will look into this. Sorry, I'm telling the officers what to do. But the officers will be able to look into this, because I know this came up in the previous administration, and I know Councillor Cash was something she was really passionate about to put forward to. But obviously this is in the projects scheme here, so we'll come back.
Well, as far as I can see, it's been delayed for about 2 years, hasn't it? I don't think she would be not actually happy if it was delayed as long as this. I think in the scheme of the late Councillor Cash, I think she would like this to be moved on a bit quicker than what's going on. So, and also quite disappointed in what happened after the work after the previous administration. We had a big discussion on this, and here we are a year later, nothing's happened.
Thank you, Councillor Honeyman.
So very disappointing.
Thank you, Councillor Honeyman, for your comments. Right, Councillor Taylor was next.
Can I just say that we've got in year 2 public consultation and permissions, which suggests to me that someone thought there was yet a need to consult the residents about this, the residents of Seaford, and I certainly wouldn't want to change. If that was the case, sorry, going back to how history gets changed, I think we should be keeping that in. I fully support the arguments that have been put forward by Ray to retain the name Martello Fields for all the reasons that have been expounded.
Councillor Anthony.
I think year 2, following on from Councillor Taylor, year 2 does say there's public consultation. I mean, I would have thought maybe as a compromise is let the people decide. So why don't we go ahead with public consultation, look at the way we frame the question so that people can decide whether they want to go to rename the field, keep the field as it is, or call it something else. So I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel. Let's move ahead, or try and use the public consultation to decide which way to go.
Can I propose an amendment then to try and incorporate most of what I've heard, including Councillor Adeniji's comments, which I think is vital about this public consultation. So rather than in the project box having renamed the Martello Fields as Queen Elizabeth Fields, I propose that we consider renaming or publicising the history of the Martello Fields as appropriate, to be that through the Martello Fields, Queen Elizabeth Fields and Sea Meadows, as appropriate being the key thing. So whether it's a rename or whether it's a communications piece at the Martello Fields, so that people know what it's about and know its history. And that will go to the public consultation then.
Thank you. May I propose that we move the public consultation into year 1 rather than year 2, and then we can get on with this quicker rather than waiting 2 years? Because I think from like Councillor Honeyman's point of view, as far as he's concerned, this has already been gone through and agreed. So I think rather than wait to year 2, we should move it to year 1 so we can get this resolved quicker.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll second both yours and Councillor Bristow's amendments.
I'd like for the record to say I'm very disappointed you haven't intimated what was decided a year ago. So I like that to be minted as such. I'm very disappointed that you couldn't get on with this particular, the crazy parts of Virginia now. We're consulting too far down the line. So obviously something didn't quite happen, but maybe you have to get, I thought our planning officer was involved with this to do the next stage. That's what we were all told a year ago.
I'm not sure there's much we can usefully discuss on that matter tonight, Councillor Honeyman. Very happy to take that offline and discuss further, should you wish. I think the only thing I would say is that, as councillors have noted, a very large amount of work has been done on this over the last year and continues to be done so, and we're getting through projects as fast as we're able to with the staff we have available. And so I think that you personally would have liked to see the project move forward more quickly. We totally hear that, but obviously with a small team and prioritised work there, that would have meant something else taking longer instead with the resources that we have. So I hear and respect that you would like to have done more quickly, but please understand that's not because the team aren't doing a lot of very important work.
I never said that, but sometimes when you make a decision, you don't expect it to be moved on. That's all I was trying to say.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Honeyman. Any further questions? Right.
Okay, so we've got a proposal and a second for our two-part amendment then, Chair.
Okay. So, just so Councillor Sturton, you didn't actually put a proposal in.
I shall be supporting Councillor Bristol's amendment.
Okay, and is everyone happy to count as Councillor Borman's proposed amendment? I put that we move it to year 1 rather than year 2.
Yeah, that's the second amendment we did.
That's fine, it's just my head's a bit all over the place.
We're doing a lot, Chair, that's good.
Right. Okay, so we've got a proposer, we have a seconder, then all in favour. Right.
That's everybody, Chair.
That's it. Right, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're getting there, everyone. Thank you so much. Any other changes on section 5? Councillor Bristow.
Tiniest one. And people will say, oh my goodness, you're being really pedantic, but I think I need to be pedantic. It's on item 12. Thank you, Town Clerk, for inserting this after our workshop. It's great to see something flexible but specific enough come through from the climate change subcommittee in this. I would just like to change in the project box carbon usage to carbon usage and emissions, just so that we've captured everything there. That is the only small thing.
Okay, do we have a second for that?
Councillor
Second.
Second.
Okay.
All in favour?
That's agreed, Chair.
Right,
thank you. Okay, any more changes on this section? All right, so we're going to move on now. We're getting there, everyone. Section 6. Any amendments to section 6 of the report?
No. Okay.
All right.
Good.
And then section 7 and 8, I say, are standing council documents, policies from elsewhere. So I'll just quickly say section 7 or 8, any amendments? Okay, Chair, I'm able to hand back to you now to do the actual original motions for this item. And then we can
I knew this was going to be complicated. I know, I'm getting it. Right, okay. We are asked to, full council is, I'm going to propose that we take all three together, to note the report and the draft strategic plan 2023 to 2027, to consider and agree to any proposed amendments to the plan, to confirm agreement of the strategic plan 2023 to 2027. Can I have a proposal, please? Councillor Hura and a second of Councillor Bruce Sturton, and then all in favour.
That's everybody, Chair. Thank you very much. Well done. Plan is passed. Well done, everyone. Great work.
We're all on to page number 71 now. So agenda item number 12, which is the Martello Toilets Tender Award, to provide an update on the Martello Toilets project progress.
Chair, I'm very grateful to the Head of Assets, Projects and Services for the report and to her team for all the work that's gone into this. As she's on study leave, I'm very happy to introduce this report. I think I'll just say three things. As you can see within the report, we've tested our market with our tender, and obviously, unfortunately, our market has told us the costs have continued to rise for the project, and that's what's reflected in the report. With the tenders received, the work from the last full council, the motions from that meeting were implemented, including the working party reviewing the tenders and making a recommended award in accordance with those motions, and that party were happy to proceed on this basis, even with the additional costs. But what this report helps to clarify for councillors is, with the costs as they now are, this explains how the council is funding this project. We had an earmark reserve set aside for a figure that's within the report, but these costs will go beyond that, so we are asking councillors to confirm that our SIL receipts will cover the balance of the project costs. And that's what this report is asking you to do this evening. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Meek.
I'm not very well versed in building kind of stuff and these project costs, but what worries me is when it says that the project cost is now estimated at 450,000, and that word estimated I find very worrying. And maybe there are others here who know more about building contracts and things like that, who will explain to me how we ensure that we don't have a House of Parliament situation or an HS2 situation. How do we make sure that these costs, which have already escalated, don't then further escalate? How do we have some kind of assurance that we're not going to be liable for a huge ongoing cost? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Meek. I think that this has reached a stage now where we're accepting a tender, making a tender contract with contractors to carry out this work. So in terms of the overall costs, the scope for them to increase further has reduced significantly. We can't absolutely guarantee this as the final cost still until the build is finished. That's the nature of construction work. But in terms of the price that's been agreed with us by our supplier, that is the point at which we have reached.
Chair, do we come on this?
Yes, please.
Thank you. I understand Councillor Meek's concerns. I'm a surveyor, look at a large construction project. This one has gone up in costs. When I did the initial cost analysis about 3-4 years ago, everything's doubled in costs. What we've got now is a building. It's an actual building. We're not building a building. We're refurbishing an existing structure. I understand Councillor Meek comes from estimated. Well, it's like having a patch on. Estimated cost is £200. That's why it comes at 250. This is an estimated cost. It's from a reputable contractor. The contractor who has been awarded the contract, they built the extension, the new Turner Centre, the theatre in Eastbourne. They're a large, reputable contractor. So we know they've got a proven track record. I think we've been round the houses so many times, all this, that, the other, and I can understand what people from estimated cost. Everything is an estimated cost. You take your car in for a service, it's an estimated cost of £100. oh sorry, the carburetor wasn't working, it's £150. So everything is, it can't predict the future. Only thing we can be assured of is that we've got a reputable contractor, we've got a good specification which I've been through, which is quite a robust specification. It's quite detailed as well. So if there are any amendments on the specification, they're itemised, so we have a unit cost. So there's an extra metre of brickwork here, extra metre of tiling there, we've got the unit cost. So therefore, if there's extra unit cost there, extra metre of tiling, well, there won't be extra metre of tiling, it's all been measured out. But just for example, extra metre of floor covering, well, there won't be. But just saying, for example, we know it's £140 per metre square. It's another 10 metres, well, it's another 1,400 because we've got the unit rates. Once you've got the unit rates from the contractor, and I may suggest, Madam Secretary, that we enter into a JCT minor contract form, minor works form contract law 2004. Simple document, it actually holds them to the cost. The town clerk's got authority to sign that particular document, and subject to that document being signed by the chief exec and by the town clerk, we're in a legally binding contract. The rates are held by that document. They can't move away. Okay, they can move away if, for example, there's a massive, all the ship bringing bricks across from China gets torpedoed. Yeah, okay. The sort of force majeure is things what we can't account for. But 99.9% of things are accounted for in that form of contract. May I suggest that I propose that we go ahead with this particular item. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Temple.
Thank you. Any further questions? I think Councillor first.
I know on one level, Chair, it's disappointing, but on another level, at least we're using some of the seal money in a positive way. That's how I'm sure that's how you agree with that as well, don't you? So I think we, as you say, it's legally binding so I think we just have to prove it.
Sorry, the contractor is based, it's in Hove, so he's a Sussex contractor. He's not from North. It's actually from Sussex. His headquarters are in Hull. I had a drive down and looked at his headquarters. Like I say, they're a reputable contractor.
Thank you. Councillor Adeliji.
I was going to say, I was actually going to second the motion. I think this is going on long enough. I mean, I think I've been on the council for 12 years. We want 1 minute, we're going to build, we're going to start. So I think all our employees, let's just get on with it. We've got the seal money. As long as we've got approval to spend seal on it, I think we should just get on with it. So I will second the motion.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Hero?
Just a final point, just to say the process that we have gone through to get here has been very thorough. The allocation of seal money to it is respectful of not trying to take funds from other parts of the council, and also, as Councillor Lord has eloquently said, the contractor is reliable and sent very, very thorough documents to the council, so I'll be voting for.
Brilliant, thank you.
Absolutely.
Right. You wanted to add a proposal, the amendment that Councillor Lord said?
I think Councillor was making an operational suggestion.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I didn't know if we needed to put that in.
I wouldn't support that.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to check. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to propose that we take all three together. So that's to note the updated project costs, to approve utilising earmarked reserves and community infrastructure levy funds to cover the costs, as per the financial appraisal within the reports, and then 3, to note the outcome of the tender process. So can I have, so we've got a proposer and we have a seconder, and then all in favour?
Everybody, Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item number 13. Temporary toilets, practices to follow and purchase of new assets. To enable full council to agree its approach to temporary toilets and seek approval of the purchase of 2 accessible compostable toilet blocks.
As per previous report, thank you to Louise and her team. I'm going to introduce the report. There are really 2 fundamental things going on here within this report. One is, so essentially the full council are being asked to consider and adopt the recommendations of the Climate Change Subcommittee. And as the report explains, the reason this has come straight from that subcommittee to full council is one of timing and nothing else. It's simply because of the need for this decision to be made now that it's coming to this meeting rather than go through other places before it got here, if that makes sense. And then secondly, because this is about purchasing an asset, that requires under council standing orders and financial regulations rather, the financial regulations require full council to approve expenditure on assets, so that's why it's come to this meeting for your approval. So you're asked to confirm the recommendations of the subcommittee and confirm the expenditure on the new asset. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Buchanan.
Yes, just quickly, mate. I think if it's possible to make a small amendment to item 2, section 2, it says delegate power to officers to determine the appropriate arrangements for the toilet. Could we add in there, delegate the power to officers in consultation with the chair of the appropriate committee? And this is more to do with, at the moment we're not clear on what toilets may or may not be purchased, so as much as anything it's just understanding the final understanding of what the spec might be and what the appearance might be.
Okay.
Does anyone like to second that? Is that Councillor Markwell? You seconded it? Councillor Markwell. Councillor Markwell seconds. Any further questions before we go on? Councillor Rutland?
Looking at this is going to be a new asset that is a portable, not portable, but a movable loo.
Yeah.
Disabled access facility.
Yes.
So when the new toilets are built,
yes,
what's going to happen to it?
I think that's what the report is saying, is that the council may wish to keep such an asset for further appropriate uses. The normal route for determining the use of our assets is through our community services committee, so I imagine that would be the route for this as well.
Because a great relocation for it when it's finished at the Martello end might be Bollingstead. Because there's no disabled facilities at that end.
Exactly.
And if we've got this asset that is movable, that's a great place to move it to.
Thank you. Councillor Bristol.
No, I was just going to say that another option, not necessarily exclusive to that, is Southfield Barn. There's an identified toilet need up there, and when we discussed it with the management committee, they are in support in principle of us putting some toilet facilities up there in the short to medium term.
Are we getting one or two?
There's
We're getting 2 units, right? One in each place?
So for that we'll go through community services in due course.
Yes, I just wondered, having read the report, there's an item in there that says that there's an option to hire them as opposed to buy them. And given we haven't got the full picture on buying them, because buying them includes the pumping of them but not the cleaning of them and the supplying of sanitizer and loo roll and whatever else. What is the comparison for the hiring option, please?
I think what the report is basically saying is that essentially the hiring would be as a one-off option for this particular refurbishment project, and so councils are simply being asked to determine would they like just to hire these lots for this project and give them back at the end, and that's the end of it, and we don't maintain or gain these assets, or would you like to buy these assets rather than hire them, given that obviously hiring will have a cost to it. Councillor, I'll take your point, but obviously repeated hirings would be for a higher cost than the cost of buying. So that's your choice, is single use hire, multi-use buy, and that's how the report has been framed.
How much is the hire? How much?
So as I say, in terms of that choice, that's the choice you're being asked to make. Obviously, I only have the financial information I have in front of me for this report. But in terms of obviously the hiring over time will be more expensive than buying if you repeat it.
Right, I have Councillor Rutland again.
I would just say in response to that, if we just hire them, whatever we spend on that is effectively dead money. Once the project's over, it's gone. If we buy them, we can then relocate them, and that's then an investment not only in that, solving that problem, but solving other problems elsewhere. Hiring is always a short-term solution, not a long-term one. And if we can take a decision now that gives us a long-term solution for not just this application but other areas as well, that's a better use of the money overall in the long term. It's more of a long-term view than a short-term for me.
Okay, I have Councillor Buchanan next.
You said far more eloquently than I can what I was going to say.
On one level, yes, great to buy them, but if we're trying to try out different types of toilets, then the hiring can be a good option to try them out, because if we buy them and you don't like them, you don't like the technology, I don't know what they've got in mind. I think there's various options to it. Unless it's already settled what the actual type of toilets you're going to get. If you decided that already to buy, if you still want to try a few out, then I reckon you still need to hire for the temporary side of things at the moment.
Yeah, because we haven't got a full picture of what the high costs are, and we haven't got a full picture of what the purchase costs are, because there is a cost to moving these things in and out of storage and where you want them. There's a cost of cleaning involved. You can't possibly know whether hiring is cheaper than purchase, because they have a price. So over 10 years, is it cheaper to hire or buy? We don't have that information. So I'd like to propose that we have the information first before we make a decision.
This decision on what the use of these toilets for the Martello toilets refurbishment needs to be made now, because the project's going to start in a couple of weeks.
Sorry.
So if no decision is made to buy, then we'll be hiring.
I think I can maybe help a little bit
Yeah.
through you, Chair, if that's okay. So the October report to Climate Change Subcommittee that's linked to in the report tonight did have some higher figures in with them.
Okay.
So total annual cost to hire a very similar unit to what's being proposed tonight would be about £5,500.
And the purchase cost is?
That's for 2 units in one. Yeah.
Can I just check, is that the correct spec of accessible toilet? Because I think there was perhaps a slight change, even in that short time, which is why some of the costs have gone up.
Yeah, so certainly through you, Chair, so the new spec of the toilet includes the longer ramp. I think this one wouldn't have done.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. That's really helpful.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Councillor.
Yes, I hear repeatedly from people that they want to see us investing in toilets in the town, and that's why I'm going to be proposing that we purchase the school toilets.
Thank you. Does that have a seconder? Councillor Meek. No, Councillor. Right, we have a second, Councillor Meek. And then, so I'm going to propose again that we take all 3 items together. I'm not going to read them all out because there's quite a lot. Oh yes, we have the amendment as well, sorry, Councillor Marcos reminded us, that we have the amendment on 2I, which is to delegate power to officers in consultation with the committee chair.
Correct.
So we have a proposal and seconded for that already, don't we?
Yes.
Yep, and then, so we take that amendment first.
We can still take them all together because it's simply an amended version.
Okay, that's fine then. Right, all in favour?
That's fine. That's everyone.
That's everyone. Thank you.
Okay.
It has been decided that we are going to move agenda item number 14 to the exempt part of the agenda, because that's what we decided to do at this stage.
Because we've got another report on a similar item, we're going to take them together.
Yeah, so we're moving it to them.
And there's no public, apart from Tony, there's no public hearing on this, so we're not stopping the public hearing, we're moving it.
Sorry, I'm just wondering, because we did have a resident who clearly spoke on this issue and wanted to see the outcomes of our discussion on item 14. Does that mean if we're moving it to the exempt part that she won't be able, they won't be able to view the video of it?
Any motions passed by that meeting will be agreed, and one of the reasons why, because we had a lot of consideration about this, Councillor Bristow. It's one of those classic situations where there's no perfect solution in what you do, because there's pros and cons to any approach. We thought it was really important, like with the video, that there was public transparency about the items being considered under item 14, and that's why that's a public report. But we completely understand that the councillors would not feel able to fully discuss item 14 because of the exempt nature of item 20. And so that's why they've been rolled together. So we've sort of maximised public transparency while enabling due process to happen.
When sort of this part is minuted compared to the exempt part, will the minutes of this, what pertains to item 14 be public so that the public know specifically?
I think we take your point there.
Yeah, okay, that's
we'll be
good.
sensible about the record of the meeting while protecting our councillors around what needs to remain exempt.
Right, thank you. I'm sure everyone's already spotted, there is no number 15, that was taken out. So we're now on to agenda item number 16, which is the annual communication schedule, to present a suggested annual communication schedule for consideration.
I'm very grateful to the ATC for this report. I think that, I hope the report and motions are very clear. In other words, this is, again, it's part of public transparency really, for everybody to see what, through an annual calendar, what events are recognised by our council through the year. Within the report, it explains what the actions the council takes in those scenarios, and it also explains which partner activities are also go through the same process. It is clearly within the report, leading to the list at the end. So I'm happy to hand back to you, Chair, for any questions or comments. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you. Any questions? Councillor Foreman?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just one comment, because obviously this is going to be published on the website for everyone to see, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, not exact.
The Commonwealth Remembrance, because a lot of them obviously have got specific dates because they happen annually on a specific date.
Yeah.
Can it be noted that it's the Tuesday after Remembrance Sunday on that, just to make people aware?
Yeah, we'll make sure that happens. That's absolutely fine.
Any further questions? No. Can I please, right, I'm going to propose again that we take all 4 items together. So can I have a proposer please? And then a seconder. Did you want me to read the 4 items out? No, okay. That's right, there was stunned silence, so I just thought I'd So can I have all in favour? And then...
That's everybody, Chair.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much. Right, agenda item 17, and I can actually do this myself now. So this is committee membership update, to present an update on the Town Council's committee membership.
Thank you, Chair. Again, grateful to ATC. As I think the report speaks for itself. There are a number of each of our committees. So it's listed within the report the committees that are not currently full, and this item is to give councillors an opportunity, should they wish, to take up any vacant seats on those committees, while indicating that Councillor Leona has already kindly indicated she would like to join the Community Services Committee. So this part of the meeting enables you to agree to that, should you wish, and also for any other councillors to be nominated for any other vacant seats on our committees. Back to you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want, there is some vacancies as seen on page 90. Is anyone else wanting to put themselves forward for any of the committees?
No.
No?
That's a no.
Stunned silence again. No one wants to do the extra. Go on to the other committees.
Chair, sorry.
Oh, Councillor Bourne.
Yeah, can I just comment? With the Personnel Disciplinary Group Subcommittee, I thought you couldn't be on both committees.
Oh, I see.
And you already, so Councillor Matthews is on both committees, I thought you weren't allowed to do.
You're not.
I don't know whether it's a typo, it should be somebody else on it, or what.
You're not.
We'll check that. Thanks. Thank you, Councillor. We'll definitely check that. That's very helpful. Okay.
Thank you.
So,
Query something quickly. So if say we've got a committee and some councillors are unable to attend and they write in and they say, oh, would anyone like to sub, and that's fine. With the committees which have spaces, if a councillor would like to join it sort of on an ad hoc basis because there is a space, can one do that or not without sort of being committed to go every single time? Just wondering. Kind of.
I mean, that's a great question. And we'll obviously go away and check the standing orders and policies thoroughly just to see we're getting our interpretation of it correct. Certainly my understanding of the custom and practice is that these are the councillors the council has appointed to these committees, so they are the members and no other councillors are. So the only circumstances that other councillors would attend would be as substitutes for members. That's how the policies, that's my understanding of how policies work, but we're very happy to go away and read them just in case there's any other interpretations possible. We think that's the situation.
Thank you. Right, so we are asked to, can I have a proposer and a seconder for the 3 recommendations? Councillor Wormouth, Councillor Rees Sturton, and then all in favour. Thank you.
That's everyone, Chair. Thank you very much.
Right, then on to... Right, so we are now on to the exclusion of press and the public.
Sorry, Chair.
Oh, okay, that's fine, sorry. We're going to have a quick break now. Councillor Rutland.
Before we have a quick break, I would just like to put on record a thank you to the clerk and to the officers for the thoroughness and the detail and all of the work that has gone into this. I have to say, it's absolutely fabulous. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Well done.